All right, guys, so we're going to give you some notes on dividing rational numbers. And I'm going to also kind of include multiplying rational numbers because within the division, you're going to do some multiplication as well. So remember, when you have division of fractions, all right, you're going to end up keeping the first thing, changing that division sign to be a multiplication sign, and flipping the order of the second fraction. All right, and all it does is it turns this thing into a multiplication problem. There's a much more complex, kind of reason why, but you should have learned that a long time ago. We're just going to use that basic rule. So for this one, all right, I'm just going to rewrite this as a multiplication problem. So this is going to turn into 2m squared plus 4m on bottom. Instead of division, we're going to multiply, all right, and we're flipping. So 4m plus 44 goes on top, and 6m minus 3m squared, all right, goes on the bottom. Okay, so now we've got to multiply this. And we know that we multiply with fractions. We multiply the top by the top and the bottom by the bottom, all right? But before I do that, I just noticed that I can split this thing up. I can make it into something that's factored. So that will help me out a little bit. So m squared minus 4. So I noticed that kind of has a 0 in the middle. So what are the factors of negative 4 that will add to give me 0? All right, and obviously that's negative 2 and positive 2. Okay, so this is going to go to m plus 2. All right, and m minus 2. Okay, so that's the top of that fraction. All right, on the bottom, I notice that they have a 2 and they have an m in common. So I can factor out 2m, and that just leaves me with m plus 2 left over. Okay, and then I'm multiplying. All right, I notice up top over here, they have a 4 in common. That leaves me with 4 plus 11 inside the parentheses. Then on the bottom of this fraction, what do they have in common? They have a 3 and an m in common. So that's going to give me, what, 2 minus m. Okay? All right, let's see if that helps us out any at all. All right, so what I'm able to do here, I'm just going to write everything on the top. So m plus 2. All right, m minus 2. Okay, the 4 is out in front of everything, and my m plus 11 when I multiply all that stuff. Okay, then on the bottom, obviously we have 2m times 3m. We have an m plus 2, and we have a 2 minus m. All right, so what are some things that can cancel each other out? Well, right away, I think I noticed that we can have m plus 2 and m plus 2. All right. And right now, that is it. Okay, so this is just going to be 4, all right, m minus 2 times m plus 11. Okay, all over, what is that, 6m squared, 2 minus m. Now, a common mistake that people are going to make is they're going to try to cancel out m minus 2 and 2 minus m. But you cannot do that. Those are not the exact same. One has a positive m, one has a negative m, one has a negative 2, one has a positive 2. Okay, but what do I do notice? All right, I can simplify 4 over 6. If you divide both of those by 2, okay, what would that end up giving us? That's 2 over 3. All right, and then it's the same stuff on the top. M minus 2, m plus 11. All right, m squared, and 2 minus m. Okay, and we can leave that as our answer. Okay, so what are our exclusions? All right, what can m not be equal to? Okay, m cannot be equal to 2. All right, because 2 minus 2 would give me 0 in that bottom parentheses. And m cannot equal 0. All right, from this m right there. Okay, so that would be 2 of our exclusions on that one. Okay, let's look at this next one. So n squared minus 6n plus 9 over 12n divided by n minus 3 divided by 6. All right, so again, we're going to keep this first one over 12n, multiply instead of divide, and then flip our second fraction. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to factor the top of this first thing. Okay, so what is that going to factor to? What are the factors of positive 9 that will add to give you negative 6? All right, so that's going to be n minus 3 and another n minus 3. Okay, and then that's obviously times 6 on top. And then in the bottom, we have 12n times n minus 3. Okay, what do I notice? I notice that one of the n minus 3's can cancel, and I notice that 6 will go into 12 2 times. Okay, so what is left in my problem? I'm left with a n minus 3 in the top of my fraction. All right, and I'm left with a 2n in the bottom. So what are our exclusions? Okay, n cannot be equal to positive 3. N cannot be equal to 0. All right, because you can't have a 0 there in the bottom, and you couldn't have a positive 3 there. All right, let's look at one more example. Okay, so here's our third example. I got a whole bunch of stuff. All right, I'm going to have to end up factoring that, and factoring that. So this is a awesome problem. I got to factor 4 times. So you know I'm pumped. All right, I hope you're pumped too. Okay, we know we got to end up keeping this, change this to multiplication, and flipping the second problem. So what is that going to give us? Okay, so starting out, again, we're going to keep this thing, a squared plus 3a minus 10, okay, over a squared plus 6a minus 7. Okay, we're going to end up multiplying here. All right, and then I have 3a squared minus 18a minus 21. Okay, and then at the bottom, 9a to the third minus 18a squared. Okay, so let's go through and let's do parts for this. The first part, I'm going to factor the top. So factors of negative 10 that add to give you 3. So 5 and negative 2. 5 minus 2 is also 3. So this is going to factor to be a plus 5 and a minus 2. All right. In the bottom, okay, so we need factors of negative 7 that will also add to give you 6. Okay, so obviously that's going to be 7 and 1. All right, and then the 7's positive, the 1's negative. So it's a plus 7, all right, and a minus 1. Okay, all this is, again, it's multiplied by this other piece. So we're moving on to this third piece in the action right here. Okay, I noticed that you can factor out a 3. So up here, I'm just going to kind of rewrite this, give myself a little bit of room. What is that? A squared minus 18 divided by 3 is 6a minus 21 divided by 3 is 7. All right, and so how does that help us in this problem? And I apologize, this I wrote the problem down wrong. This is supposed to be a plus right there. All right, and what do we know? This is the same exact thing as this. Okay, which is nice. All right, so this is going to factor to be the same. A plus 7 and a minus 1. Okay, and in the bottom, all right, I notice that I can factor out a 9. So that's going to be 9. All right, I see that I can also factor out an a squared. That leaves me with 1a inside minus 2. All right, and so that's going to be what's here, 9a squared. Okay, and then a minus 2. All right, and let's look, see what can cancel. So we have a whole bunch of stuff that can cancel. This is basically like saying this is on one fraction. All this stuff's being multiplied here. Multiplied. Okay? So, obviously my a minus 7s will cancel. All right? Or excuse me, a plus 7 will cancel with a plus 7. My a minus 1 in the top will cancel with the a minus 1 in the bottom. My a minus 2 in the top will cancel with my a minus 2 in the bottom. All right, so I'm just going to rewrite everything that I've got. End up with 3 times a plus 5 all over 9a squared. Okay, and then the last thing that I notice is I can divide 3 and 9 by 3. So if I divide the top and the bottom by 3, what does that give me? That gives me a plus 5, 1 times a plus 5 over 3a squared. Okay, and then that would be your final answer. That's the most simple that it could be. The restrictions are everything that's in the bottom of this fraction. So all these numbers right here, all right, what would make that 0? So a could not be negative 7 from this. A could not be positive 1 from this. A could not be 0 from that. And a could not be positive 2 from that. Okay, and then that is it. That is all your exclusions on this problem.